What's up, everybody? We're called Los Gondos. This is KBVR, K-Beaver, baby. Let's go. First song we're going to do today, new song called Foul Weather. Take it away, Grant.
So, yeah, do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Cool.
Sure. I'm Chris Farquhar. I play bass. And yeah, what's up?
My name's Aiden Case, and I sing and I play guitar, and I'm also the songwriter.
I'm Grant. I play the drums.
I'm Connor. I play the other guitar. Connor Peoples play the other guitar.
Where did the name Los Gondos come from?
Take this one, Chris.
So me and Aiden have been playing music for a while, and we had come up with a ton of different potential names from like the most random things. Like we saw a piece of heavy machinery called the Ditch Witch, and for like a month we were convinced that was going to be our band's name. And then one day I think we were just sitting down like in our living room trying to think of names, and
Yeah, we had to play the show.
That's
what
right.
half a name.
Yeah, we got booked on a show before we we didn't really know what we were doing, and kind of got lucky. These random dudes asked us to play, and so we were sitting there, and Aiden was like, "Oh, what about Los Hondos," which means like the waves in Spanish, and I was like, "I don't know, it doesn't really like."
Pretty cheesy.
Yeah, that too.
Pretty cheesy.
But also, and I was just like, I don't know, like I don't like. I was like, what if we put a G in front of it? And we did Los Gondos, so we just Google translated it, and we were like, wonder what that mean, if it's even a word. And on Google Translate, the English translation that came up was the gonads, and we were like, oh, that's perfect.
Thank you. It's our first live performance in quite some time. Shout out to Clay from Honey for running sound for us today. Shout out to SARTAKESPICS for filming us today. Shout out Zach Clifton for sitting in the corner today and being emotionally supportive.
So how and when did you guys learn how to play your instruments?
I started playing guitar at when I was 14, I guess. And at that time I was really into EDM. And then I don't know, I had to go to a different school and I was really upset and everybody hated me because they didn't know who I was. And so I met this dude named Brady Stitt, shout out. And we were on the same cross country team and I was riding on the bus at the back and I didn't have anybody to hang out with, and he came and hung out with me. And he's like, "Do you have anything music to listen to?" It's a long ride. I was like, "No." He's like, "Here, just share my earbud." And he played me some Metallica. And I was like, "This is the best song I've ever heard." I think it was One. I'm pretty sure it was One.
Of course. If we were 14,
yeah.
it was One.
I was like, I gotta learn how to do that. No one likes me. No girls are interested in me because I suck at sports. So I'm gonna learn how to play guitar. And I don't know. I just started trying to learn Metallica songs off the bat. Didn't work out. Ended up playing some White Stripes instead. And yeah, I kind of just taught myself by listening to Metallica and YouTube, stuff like that, and then jamming with all my good friends back home on the coast. They're just picking up things from people. So yeah, I guess since I was 14, I've been playing guitar. I don't know any theory or anything like that, but I really like doing it.
Riffs.
Yeah.
I can. I think when I was 13, my dad was convinced that he was gonna make me. I have two siblings. He was gonna make us the Jonas Brothers or something. So for Christmas, he was like, "I'm buying you guys instruments. What do you want?" And I asked for a guitar. I was like, "I want to play guitar. Guitar's sick." My sister got the guitar, and I got the bass, and so I was really pissed at the time. I remember, but I think I was I don't know who isn't an idiot at 13, but I was I know what I'm gonna do, and I decided to only learn weird super dumb bass lines from rap songs I liked, like Eminem, and then I got into Green and stuff later, and then I kind of took a break until freshman year. I met Aiden and finally had someone to play with because both my siblings stopped playing their instrument a year after we got them, and so playing bass alone with no one to play with ever is kind of a bummer most of the time, but yeah, picked it back up. So I had someone to play with.
For me, I did drum lessons for 3 years, from 4th grade to 6th grade, but it was all very world music based. So I started on the djembe, then the marimbas, and then eventually did the drum kit for a year. And then I hated it, so I didn't think about drums or anything like that until our sophomore year, when when our friend bought a drum kit and had nowhere to put it, so he was storing it at our house, and I was like, probably still got it, and did at all, but practiced a lot. It was in the basement, no one could really hear me, and then picked it back up from there. And then of course I lived with Chris and Aiden, so from there we started jamming. And that's it.
Yeah.
You, Connor.
Nah. So in I don't know, my dad played in a Rush cover band, and he always wanted me to play Rush songs with him. So when I was 8, he made me start taking jazz lessons at this one guy's house. And he bought me the same Fender Strat that I have. And I just kind of went from there. I played jazz band in middle school and then just jammed with people in high school, and then met these guys and started playing in the basement of the Oasis. And then everything worked out. Yeah, and then joined Los Gondos.
I can't.
Was there a particular influence that like kind of set off all y'all's interest in punk music, or was it just kind of like an overtime like, oh, start listening like, oh, this is kind of cool, or was there like, you know, one key point that was like, oh yeah, that I dig that?
I mean, there's definitely like one band that I'll get to in a second that basically started this band, but like my parents were involved in the punk scene growing up. My uncle was actually in a bunch of like hardcore punk bands in Portland in the 90s. And so he made me like a mixtape of punk bands when I was, I don't know, really young. And I just listened to that nonstop. And he bought me Dookie by Green Day. And I listened to that nonstop. And like the Exploding Hearts. But like as far as Los Gondos goes, like the biggest influence, like the number one thing that started this was like Chris and I had just fallen absolutely in love with the first Fiddler album. Like that album kind of blew our minds, and for a while, like when we started, like that's all we played were songs from that album. We were like, we
covered a lot of their songs.
And we were like, we just want to do this. Like this is where, like we want to do that.
Fiddler cover band.
Yeah. So Fiddler is like the big one. We kind of don't like their new stuff very much, but that first album is like the holy grail for us. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, for me, I think I was like relatively late. I don't know, maybe early to get into punk. I think I was like 15. I was just like hated everything. And my tutor at the time, my math tutor, shout out Erin. She was like, "Dude, I got a fucking song for you," and she played me "Institutionalized" by Suicidal Tendencies. And I was like, I need as much of this as I can possibly get. And it was just from there. And then met Aiden. We had like almost identical music tastes. And yeah, that's where it kind of picked up band-wise.
I know for me, my uncle, who I spent a lot of time with as a kid, was super involved in the 80s punk scene in DC. He was the editor for the University of Maryland's radio station, which is like 20 minutes outside of DC. So right in there, and he would just tell me stories for hours about the punk scene, you know, the original 930 Club, just tearing the roof on it, things like Bad Brains. One thing, we're starting to come back to DC a little bit after they got banned, and just hearing so many stories from him really got me into it, and then having an opportunity to do it myself felt really good. Like also for him, like to show him like, I urge you, and I'm doing it as well.
Yeah.
So when I moved into we all were in the Oasis in our house sophomore year, like Aiden was showing me. Aiden was really into like the style of guitar that I hadn't really played much of. Like I liked some like prog rock and jazz stuff, and then Aiden comes at me with like super fast picking and all this shit, and I'm like, that sounds pretty sick. And like all the surf punky kind of music, and then we all started jamming, and I'm like, this is cool. And it's fun to just do it with these guys.
Yeah.
It's the best thing around here. Yeah.
Dude, I want to play in a surf punk band so bad.
Dude, join Los Gondos.
For now, it's called Surf Nowhere. We've never played it before, ever. So bear with us.
Waking up and you remember my name.
of like kind of all the music that you guys have made together, is there a song that kind of stands out as like your guys' favorite or like the one that you're most proud of?
I feel like it's always changing for me. Each time we have a song we're playing, and then I'm like, oh, this one is so sick. It's my new favorite.
No swearing, Connor.
Oh, sorry. And then Aiden puts out a new one, and it's like even better. And then I'm like, oh, this is my favorite now.
I think for me, it's always going to be, it's not even released, so it's kind of ridiculous to like say this one, but Horizontal Bangs was like the first song we wrote together. And like, it'll always just be like in that spot of like, that's like the point where I felt like, oh, we're in a band, like we're creating, we're doing something.
Mhm.
And so that'll always be kind of like that. It'll always hold that spot in that way.
Is it? It's on SoundCloud.
Oh, it is on SoundCloud.
It's
The
like
Horizontal Bangs on SoundCloud. Go check it out.
There's a lot of like demos on our SoundCloud of stuff that we never put out on Spotify. I get really sick of like all the songs that I write pretty quick, like after they're released, and because like as far as like our last EP, like I recorded all that and like mixed it and produced it like all by myself in my bedroom. I've heard them like 800 times, and I'm just super sick of them at this point. From that EP, I think Currents is probably my favorite, but like all those Gondos songs, there's a song we're working on right now called 80 Proof that we haven't finished, but that one's my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as release songs go, I think the most fun one to play is probably Head Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a song that's also on SoundCloud, just a demo of it. But that's the one where we make all the people in the audience like sit down and then jump up on a cue, and like it goes crazy every time we do it. So that's my favorite live for
Shout out
sure.
to Slipknot.
Yeah, thanks Slipknot for the inspo.
Yeah, favorite.
I like Idiots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I like
Ouija
playing it.
Beach.
It's the most fun to play for me.
yeah. Ouija's probably the most iconic.
The people
band.
love Ouija. I don't know if I love Ouija.
Yeah.
The people do.
I love Ouija.
Ouija's your most played on Spotify.
Yeah, it just that song
It
won't die.
refuses to die. Yeah.
It's like the
not
only,
mixed extremely well.
it's mixed terribly.
Yeah.
It's not mastered. Like
Yeah,
at all. It's terrible. I recorded that with like a cord that goes from my laptop to my guitar.
Is that still PlayStation headset, Mike?
Yes, that microphone PlayStation headset.
Okay, that's you need to elaborate on that quickly.
Yeah.
Didn't have like a microphone I could use for recording. I had now I have like a SM58 that I use, But like up until that point, I had this. It wasn't even a PlayStation 4 headset; it was a PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 compatible headset. So you could switch it, and like that's why the vocals on all those songs are like overdriven and they sound like kind of weird. It's because it's just a place. I'm just screaming. I'm like wearing the headset so I can monitor myself. So basically, just like it's like I'm playing Call of Duty and yelling at like 12-year-olds or something, but. That's literally how all of this, any song before the Idiots EP, and some of the vocals are on the Idiots EP are still like the backup vocals on like Reptile and stuff are still that PlayStation headset.
Yeah, I remember sitting in your
Getting
room
bad.
after I think you recorded Gunfight on it first. I think that was the first song you recorded on that
And
place.
horizontal.
Oh yeah, but I remember listening to Gunfight. We were like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest ever like vocal sound we've ever heard. And it's just funny looking back at like just how stoked we were about it, you know.
I remember I saw you guys perform at the Valentine's Day show this past February, which was a pretty crazy show, all things considered. So I thought I would just ask quickly, is there like a standout craziest experience that you guys have had as a band?
Great
They
question.
get pretty weird pretty often. That show in particular was really weird because I was at the 552.
Oh yeah, that was
nutty.
the floor had a good like foot or two of bounce and all like
And there was
the
no
drums
stage.
and the amps.
Yeah.
You could just feel everything sinking and coming back up. Like you could just see my kick going away from me, coming back up. Scary stuff.
Yeah.
Everything broke that show. Like every amp shut down. I had blown out my amp for like the 5th time, and so I was using, I think one of the guys in Gentle Being using their amp, and so
like
yeah,
20.
that show was chaos.
Yeah, and
A lot
I
of
remember
them
getting
were
like
pretty
elbowed in the ribs because it was like we had like probably our whole like performing area was like I don't know what like 5 feet wide. Like we were just crammed in there. It was cool because it felt like a real like punk show where like sometimes it feels too open where like I don't feel like I'm like close to or connected with the crowd as much as I'd like to be. But as far as craziest,
We've had some crazy crowds in Corvallis.
Oh yeah.
We play with the Stongs up in Corvallis at their house, and yeah, they bring a rowdy crowd. I remember just looking out and just seeing people just flailing, flying in the air. I'm like,
hanging by the
man.
AC duct.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the ceiling at the place we would play at was so low.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
fun though.
just a crazy setting too.
There was that show we played after we'd driven from Ensenada.
Oh, that's true.
Oh yeah,
That's
we
probably
came back
why-
from Mexico and went right to.
Yeah. We drove technically from San Diego or Orange County to Oregon, and then I think it was an hour after we got back.
Mm-hmm.
After we got back into Eugene, we played that show at the High House. That was crazy.
That was hectic.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, there's
crazy.
been a lot of them. They're all crazy. If it's not crazy, then we're not doing our job right.
Yeah.
That's how you should look at it. It's been mentioned on your social medias, all of them, or various ones, that you guys are working on something special, or you got something coming up. Do you want to go into a little bit of detail as to what's going on there?
Yeah, we're working on a full-length album right now. I think we're pretty much done with demos. We sound to the guy that's recording us, and we will be recording with Ben Windheim of the Max. I'm sure a lot of people watch this will be familiar. Will be
Awesome guy.
yeah, the best. insane guitar player, insanely nice person. Yeah, we're gonna record our album with him in like January or something like that. So yeah, we're working on a lot of cool stuff right now. It's definitely different. It's a lot more complex and it's a lot more sonically diverse than anything else we've done. So yeah, that's coming up. Stay tuned.
You said you wanted to go fast. Grant's wearing a sweater. That's all of them. That's all the songs. Thank you, KBVR, for having us, even though we're not actually there. It's still an honor to play for you guys from our garage. Thank you, Clay from Honey. Thank you, SARTAKESPICS. Thank you, Zach. I've been Aiden Case. This is Connor Peoples, Chris Farquhar, Grant Anderson, and we're Los Gondos. Thank you. Good morning, America.